Today I'm going to tie for you DC's Wet Wire Western Coachman. The hook I have in the vise is a Mustad 3906B. It's a 2 extra long and it is a size 10. The thread I'm going to use is dark brown thread, and this thread just happens to be 14/0. I'm really liking the Visis thread. It's pretty strong. It doesn't fill up your hook so quickly when you put materials on. It doesn't add too much bulk. And this fly is going to be a wet fly, and you're going to be fishing this in the middle of the column. Probably I would fish this in deeper runs, faster runs. And I'm going to stop the thread right at the barb, and we're going to start with the tail, and the tail is going to be golden pheasant tippet. And I'm going to take a section of 12 or so. And I'm not going to rip them off. I'm just going to take them, I'm going to hold them, marry them together like so, and I'm going to cut them off. If you rip them off, you'll separate them. Then you won't get the colors staying together as well. And I'm going to want the tail to be the length of the hook shank. And I'm going to tie that in right there at the tail. I'm going to put a wrap underneath the tail just to make sure they're standing. And they separate there just a little bit. And wrap that all the way up. I trimmed them off just the right size. And now I'm going to take brown copper wire, and I'm going to tie that in, and I'm going to tie it in for the length of the body. And the length of the body I want is going to be half the hook shank. So I'm going to tie that all in and go quickly up front, and then come back with it. And wrap that right back to the tail, and get your thread back up front. And you can stop it just past the end of the wire you tied down. Before I wrap the wire, I'm going to take my super glue and I'm going to put some super glue on that thread base. It's not big necessity because I have the wire wrapped in. It just adds just a little bit more security. And I'm going to wrap that. And I'm going to wrap them. My wire is still attached to my spool, so it may look a little clumsy. And I'm going to wrap them one next to the other, all the way up to the end. And if you have the rotary vise, you can rotate it. And when you're rotating it with the rotary vise, lean it towards the back just a little bit, and you'll ensure that they lay right next to each other. And of course, if you don't have the rotary vise, you have to do it by hand. And now I'm off the last wrap down. I'm going to back my thread up. And I'm going to send an extra wrap up towards the front. And I'm going to tie that off. And now I'm going to remove that wire. I'll take my wire cutters And remove that close. And now I'm going to take 2 peacock herl. I'm going to tie them in. And I'm not going to cut anything, I'm just going to tie these right down. And stop my thread. Back of the eye. And once again, because I have peacock herl, out comes the super glue once again. And just put a small amount on it that time. And I'm going to wrap my peacock herl. There we go. And I twisted them together at the end there. And bring them right up to the thread. And tie that off. And now I'm going to take a brown hackle. I'm going to tie that in right up against the peacock. And get rid of that excess stem. Wrap that down and leave that thread halfway. I'm going to wrap the hackle. There's 2. And that's where I'm going to tie it off. At approximately 2.5 to 3 turns. Wrap in front of the stem. A couple of times to lock it in. We'll cut that off. Now I'm going to pull the hackles back. And I'm going to wrap back on them just a wrap or two, just the width of the thread. So they're going in the back, they're heading back. There we go. And now for the wing, I have 3 white CDC feathers. I have 3 because you want a pretty decent wing there. And I'm going to measure them so they're about half the hook length. And I'm going to tie them down. And trim off that excess. Nice and close. And finish off the head. Take my whip finish. Tighten that up. And I'm going to finish it off with some head cement. And here we have DC's Wet Wire Western Coachman. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please leave comments, questions, suggestions, and most of all, I thank you very much for watching my videos.